Seahawks football is back. The players you need to know, the strategy for this season, and the mindset the Hawks hope will help them soar. Right here. Game On. Seattle Training Camp starts now.
Hello and welcome to the 2019 Seattle Seahawks Training Camp Special. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to take a deep dive into this year's team and find out what steps they're taking to get back on top of the NFC West.
For all the change on the defensive side, the offense has revolved around Russell Wilson for the past 7 years. How that continuity could help the Hawks as they look to fly higher. Speaking of defense, there are a lot of new faces, but the Legion of Boom legacy still reverberates through Seattle. Those new faces taking a trick from their predecessor's playbook to try and make their own mark on Seahawks history. Plus, a familiar face looking to make a new name for himself. How former Duck star Ugo Amadi is fitting in up Interstate 5. Despite what was supposed to be a rebuilding year, Pete Carroll's team earned themselves a 10-win season and playoff berth before being knocked out by the Dallas Cowboys. 11th in team defense, 7th in team offense, is a rebuilding result anyone will take. But that means this season, the expectation is to go up from there. The Hawks open their season in front of the 12, September 8th, hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Then they're going to head to the Steel City, taking on Mike Tomlin's squad, of course, sans Antonio Brown. September 26th, they're back at home for a date with the Saints. And then let's jump to week 7, because it's going to be the Hawks' first time seeing Earl Thomas on a football field since he flipped his former birds, the bird, now with his new birds, the Ravens. In the back half of the season, they've got 2 dates with Richard Sherman and his 49ers Niners, led by first-year NFL coach Cliff Kingsbury and Jimmy G, back from injury, as well as a visit to the Super Bowl runner-up Rams in Week 14.
One of the biggest advantages the Seattle team has this year is the continuity on offense. From Russell Wilson to the offensive line to the running backs and most of the wide receivers, this team is full of faces that 12s are very used to seeing play on Sunday. And in the second year of Pete Carroll's return to the run game plan, this offense is ready to ground and pound.
Priority number 1 for both the Seahawks brass and franchise quarterback Russell Wilson this offseason was inking a new deal. They certainly accomplished that. Russ, now the highest paid player in the league.
You know, really from the beginning of my professional career, started here, and my goal was to end it here. My goal is to have a lasting impression on this city, is to be able to make a lot of people's lives cheer at the top of their lungs, and win a lot of football games and hopefully win a lot of Super Bowls.
With their QB on lock, Pete Carroll is looking to do more of what made the Seahawks the best rushing team in the league last season, which of course starts with the guys in the trenches. And the faces on the line are familiar, but they've got a new motto.
We all say JBD, and JBD stands for J Ball Dog. The thing is, it's about us gelling, staying in the classroom together, picking up blitzes, learning our scheme better, becoming more technical sound, and I think that's what it's about. And we've done a great job.
DJ Fluker is a big reason the Hawks were able to average 160 yards a game in 2018. Entering his second season with Seattle, Pete Carroll feels like the 6'5", 342-pound guard has found his place in line coach Mike Solari's system.
I think Mike's time with DJ really enhanced our look at him and outlook and understanding of him. Mike knew who he was and what he was all about, and he was exactly on it. He's been a great addition to our club, so I hope DJ feels like he's found himself a little bit here, and we love everything he brings.
Behind that big bruising line are some equally bruising backs who ran for a combined 2,560 yards last season, the third most in franchise history. Returning 1,000-yard rusher Chris Carson likes how stacked the running back stable is this season.
Very excited. It's deep. We got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. We complement each other real well, so it's just great to have that type of depth.
In his second year with Seattle, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer remains committed to the run game, something his backs are pretty pumped about.
He's doing a lot with the running backs. He's splitting them out wide, putting them in different spots around the field. He's using us more in pass catching than what he did in the previous year. It's fun for us. All the running backs got great hands. It's good to see us finally be able to use it.
In an era where it seems much of the league is taking to the air, Carson's glad he's in Carroll's system, which wants to stay true to the run.
You could say that the running back position in the running game is getting devalued nowadays, but I'm just glad that it's not here. I'm glad that they really utilize the running game a lot.
Utilize, but not overwork. Seattle looks to build on that running back by committee mindset. Another thing Carson thinks is going to benefit the Hawks.
It prolongs our career. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of leagues going, a lot of teams having that 1-2 punch. And, it just keeps defense on their toes, and it keeps us fresh throughout the year.
The Seahawks 1-2 punch will likely be Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. Carson was a wrecking ball for the Hawks in 2018. The NFL's top-ranked rusher had more than 1,100 yards on the ground and 9 touchdowns. In his third season, Carson feels like he's just hitting his stride in the league.
I just want to build on what I had last year, keep improving. I know a lot of things. I knew a lot of things I need to work on, so I try to, sharpen that up in my game. But yeah, the confidence is definitely big. Having a full season and being able to.
The other half of the Hawks' two-headed monster is second-year man Rashad Penny. Drafted in the first round by Seattle last year, Penny finished third in team rushing as a rookie, adding 2 touchdowns as well. Through camp, his teammates have noticed a difference.
Confidence, that's the biggest thing. His confidence has grown. Rookie year is always a tough year. It's the longest of your career, but his confidence has grown. His play speed is a lot faster, and he's just all around improved.
Continuity is great, especially if everyone can stay healthy. The Seahawks have been relatively lucky with Wilson's health. But in case something happens, they've brought in 2 backups who have very different styles and have taken very different paths to Seattle.
One of the most forgotten jobs in the offense is the backup quarterback, until it's the most important job on the field. Seahawks have 2 very different primary backup options, Paxton Lynch and Geno Smith. After 2 years starting with the Jets, Smith has only started 2 games in the past 4 seasons and hasn't seen any action so far with the Seahawks because he had to have surgery to get a cyst removed from his knee. Instead, it's been Lynch, the former first-round pick of the Denver Broncos, playing the bulk of the Seahawks preseason games. After 2 years in Denver, Lynch didn't get any calls to play in 2018. So when the call came from Seattle, Lynch was understandably ecstatic.
I was very excited. I know when I was kind of making my rounds, working out for a bunch of teams, I had Seattle at the top of my list, and I really liked the culture here and the organization here and the coaching staff. So whenever they called me and reached out to me, I was excited for the opportunity.
The biggest, both literally and figuratively, addition to the Seattle offense is wide receiver DK Metcalf. At 6'4" and nearly 230, he gives Russell Wilson one of the largest targets he's ever had to throw to.
I think he looks special. I mean, he can make a lot of plays. You saw in the game. He's a fingernail off of 2 massive big plays. So I think he's going to be really special for us.
The second-round draft pick out of Ole Miss has made quite the splash at camp this fall, his 6'4" frame towering over many on the practice field. So it's no wonder he was one of the most talked-about prospects of this year's draft. Now, despite his athletic prowess, Metcalf was also one of the biggest question marks. He missed nearly half his junior season with a neck injury that required surgery. But Wilson believes adversity like that has only made the rookie more prepared.
I think, too, he's fired up because I think people doubted him, and I think also, he has a little bit of a story. People thought he may not play football or whatever because of his neck and different things like that. And, I think that, sometimes the people with the stories are the ones that really, they're the ones that really come up and shine, because they have something to overcome.
Add in that the kid's an NFL legacy. His father, Terrence, played 7 years in the league as an offensive lineman. Growing up around the NFL, DK is no stranger to the process and says now he's ready to make it his own.
He didn't push me on this path. I kind of found it myself. So that was really the big plus of having him around. I got to be around it growing up, got a chance to go to a Super Bowl and, get to live that experience. But now it's time for me to make my own way.
Make his own path, but keep in mind a piece of advice from his dad.
Just continue to work each day. No matter if you're first string or third string, just continue to work.
For Metcalf and Wilson, that work began in Los Angeles when the 2 trained together for 3 days. A brief time, but one where the franchise quarterback learned a lot about the rookie's work ethic.
We literally started working out at 5:45 every morning. The guy's focused, There's nobody out there, just the sun's barely coming up, for 3 days in a row, So I don't think his work ethic and his mentality is ever going to be in question.
The excitement around the rookie phenom had a shadow cast over it when head coach Pete Carroll announced he was to have surgery on his knee. So he missed the second preseason game, but even still, the Hawks remain optimistic, if not cagey, about when Metcalf will be ready to suit up again.
We're going to go week to week and just see what happens. And I don't think it's there's no indications that it's going to be a long return. It's going to be a shorter return than long. So we'll see how we can do with this and keep our fingers crossed for him.
Even if Metcalf isn't ready by early September, the Hawks feel confident their wide receiver core, led by Pro Bowler Tyler Lockett, is going to be dynamic. Still ahead, it's a new era in Seattle's defense, but the Legion of Boom's impact still reverberates through the Emerald City. Tricks of the past this year's squad hopes will lead to future success. Plus, you probably already know these two, Deshaun Shedd and Ugo Amadi, each made a name for themselves at Oregon universities. Now in Seattle, one is a veteran looking for his encore, one is a rookie trying to make his place in the pros. And can't forget about special teams, one of the areas the Seahawks brass most hope will improve this season. Who's standing out through the first 2 weeks? We catch up with both when the Seattle Seahawks Training Camp Special rolls on.